And human psychology started in way back in 1800s, right? In Europe, that's where it started off. But after too many instances of iterations in human psychology, like humanistics or cognitive psychology or humanistic theory, solution-based theory, there were a lot of theories which came about in Europe, right? Someone called Abraham Maslow, an American philosopher as well as a psychologist. So he created something called hierarchy of needs, right? So it's called hierarchy of needs. So why a need? What is a need? Let's make it participative. What is a need?
Something that
is necessary to
not necessary. Something that we want at the moment.
want and
something
need is very different.
Wants and needs are different.
Want is
necessary.
different.
Want
Want is desire.
No,
Yes.
need can be something which can simplify his life.
Okay.
By the-
So what is a want?
My point is like
Okay, needs are essential things.
These are essential things. Okay, that's a good definition. So if something is essential for you, it should be for life. Because that's why you are saying it's essential. So what is a want?
At the moment.
For the moment. So wants could change, whereas needs are not going to change. So when you want something, your motivations cannot be depending on your wants. But when you need something, your motivations or your behavior, right, it will depend on the needs. So will it be for users of any kind. So that's why we are saying motivations are following out of needs, right? So let's discuss this model. So Abraham Maslow created a pyramid, right? He called it as hierarchy of needs because the pyramid has a hierarchy of its own, right? We talked about essential needs, physiological needs. Physiological needs could start from food, water, shelter, warmth in terms of colder regions, right? And rest.
Keep in the one side that we can show a slide, we can edit and show a slide.
Okay, okay.
We can edit it later,
Awesome.
right? Any questions here? Which is very much physiological, and this includes cutted sex, okay? Which is very much essential as an instinct. You need to cut it out, okay?
Okay, that will.
I did not put that there. So then comes safety needs. So safety is very much important for anyone after this particular physiological needs are met. If you are very hungry, right, you think about food first. And then if you are thinking about elements of nature which is going to attack you, right, which is fire, whatever, right? When you are so hungry, you would want to eat something rather than thinking about someone who is going to attack you. Then your safety, security, all those considerations come here. Even law and order for that matter. So next will be belongingness and love needs, which is a sense of friendship, intimacy, right? And what else could it be? Feeling affiliated to a group, that's what we call social, right?
Almost.
These are like basics, common sense, isn't it? So we call it UX as common sense because it's not about it's easy. It's about everyone can understand because it relates to everyone. That's why we call it as common sense. In esteem needs, right, which comes after love needs, esteem needs talks about prestige and a feeling of accomplishment. Maslow has two categories of esteem needs. One that you do for yourself, which is your self-esteem. When you win a match, you feel pride about winning it. When you have mastered a course, then you feel like, okay, I'm the master of that particular skill, right? When there is a sense of accomplishment. And there is another esteem need, which is coming from the reputation that you get from others, right? When a child wants to get this esteem need, think about it. How can that be? It's more like, okay, I want to win this because someone else should feel pride about me, right? Or I should be felt good about when compared to my friends. So this is kind of a self accomplishment. Then we have the important one, which is the final one, called self-actualization. Self-actualization is the nature of a person to achieve one's full potential, right? So that's where it ends, which means you have found the meaning of life. You have found why you came here, what is that you need, and what is that. It's not about what is that you want, right? At any point of time, your wants could be different. but there are possible needs which are like always common for everyone. So, any questions here? No, right? It's all common sense. So there are basic needs which we call about physiological and safety needs. These are very much basic to every animal, basic to every human being, and across segments of people also of different thoughts. There is no difference between them. Psychological needs coming out of cognizance, right? People want to feel belonging to a group because they feel like within a group they are safe. Since they are safe, they need to love each other. They need to show affection, right? So it's a psychological need. And self-esteem, which again comes from pride. I need to have that self-esteem with others, right? There should be a dignity that I own from with respect to others, or someone else should look at me in a positive way. Prestige. All that comes from psychological needs of a person. And the self-actualization, right? That's coming out of the self-fulfillment. If you have mastered a certain thing, right? Which it could be creative needs, or it could be like you're a traveler, you're a born traveler. If you have crossed like 3 continents of the world, right? So you feel like okay, you have mastered certain things. You are there. You have found the real meaning of your life. So that is self-fulfillment needs. So there is this path which people go through, right? It's always starts with from the baby to whatever time that we live on the planet. It starts with the physiological needs, and we move on with others in a unique fashion. Each person crossing the pyramid will have a unique fashion with respect to others. And your physiological needs, which is like an XYZ person's physiological needs and an ABC person's physiological needs may change at any point in time. Some might need water, right? Some might need something else, which I don't want to mention. Right? Okay, there's another way to group this. These needs over here are called deficiency needs. The why deficiency? What is deficient?
Something we don't have.
Something we don't have. So if you don't have, what is your thought about it? What do you think about it?
We need it.
You need it. So as we move, right, when let's say, I mean, the deficiency need probably it's not very clear here. It is physiological, safety, belongingness, and esteem. When these motivations are met, when these needs are met, your motivation to get it right will reduce. If you are hungry, you want to eat. But if you have eaten your stomach full, right, what happens? Your motivation to eat more stops, isn't it? If you have the pride in the world that okay, I have achieved certain stuff, right? If you have got that feeling that okay, I am done there, your motivation to get it more will reduce. So that's why these are called deficiency needs. Whereas the upper ones are called growth needs. More you started to master something, right? If you have gone to, if you are a born traveler that we discussed about, if you have gone to one continent, if you have found good experiences there, you feel like, okay, I have to get it more. You know what I mean? So this has talked about, I mean, this was talked in detail. So that, there are certain changes which Maslow created 10 years after. This happened in 1950s. Okay. So what did we learn till now? Motivations are the need takers, right? Only through needs people get motivated. So you need to really talk about human psychology and their needs when you are designing a product. And how people get motivated because there is a hierarchy of needs. No one wants to get into belongingness or show affection without even addressing the basics of life, which is food, water, shelter. And there is something called hierarchy of prepotency, which is this is something which we talked about, right? If I am done with safety needs, only then my need or my desire to attain the next level of need starts. That's the hierarchy of prepotency. So the earlier thing, when it is complete, I start, or the need for my next level emerges. Order of needs is not rigid. Your order of needs might be different. You might probably jump from physiological needs. Every other person on the planet will start with physiological needs because it's the basics. Right from the baby crying, right? It's the basics, instincts. After which, maybe safety needs to some extent. There, someone need not love each other, right? Someone need not think about belonging to a family, but he still wants to be a self-esteemed person, right? Or someone wants to self-actualize without even getting esteem. He could be a born traveler. He just wants to go out like an introvert. He does not want extreme. He wants to go out, travel the world, pick experiences that he needs to find, but he does not want others to look at him. It could also be the case, right? So order of the needs is not rigid, but people move from one to the other in a unique fashion. Most of the behaviors that we exemplify, right, are multi-motivated, where we are talking about multiple levels of needs which motivates you to do something what you want at that particular time. So here comes a concept of needs and wants, right? All of your needs at a particular point of time becomes a want. And how do you get motivated to get that want? Based on multiple levels of factors going in here. So after this model, right, which was very much successful, people thought about there is some level of cognition missing, right? So he wanted to add cognitive needs, aesthetic needs, because there was a generalist principle where in US and in the whole of Europe, people started thinking about design elements, which started in architecture, right? So aesthetic needs should be attended to when we are talking about hierarchy of needs. And those two needs were added here. Self-actualization is coming up on the top. So what is transcendence? So as I was talking about cognitive needs, it's nothing but knowledge, curiosity, empathizing with another person, right? And the need for meaning, everything comes here. Even predictability comes there. Right? Aesthetic needs, it's the need of a person to appreciate or search for some beauty in a form, right? Or a balance in a form. It may not be just beauty, it could be even a balance that he wants to find in a form. Transcendence is beyond oneself. It goes a little more than what you think life is all about, right? It could be mystical, it could be magic. Magic is something which you don't realize.